Hello, welcome to week 10 in classroom assessment. I hope that you had an opportunity to complete the quiz last week for identifying problems in the data. I'll be sure to give you feedback on that so that you understand how to look at data and analyze it. You'll be experiencing another chance of this at the very end of the semester. So just be sure to read that feedback that you get, in addition to the feedback on reliability and validity and assessment of bias. So just make sure that you understand those things as well. So this week we'll be continuing through the textbook and reading chapter 12, which focuses on formative assessment. So just make sure that you take the time to watch this lecture. And then we do have a supplemental reading that I think complements the chapter really well. So be sure that you read this reading from EDUC. It's one that you'll need to understand, you'll be assessed over, but like I said, it complements the chapter. So what you're doing this week is continuing the research project that you began at the beginning of the semester. You found a couple of articles and got feedback from your peers. So I would take the time to go back and look at that. And this week what you're going to be doing is gathering some data. So you can change articles, you can change your research question if you want. If you're interested in something else now, that's perfectly fine. But what I want you to do is to think of some questions that you might ask your friends or family. So here's an example. If your research question is about affective assessment, then you want to come up with ways that you might ask people about that. And you can do it in lots of different ways. You can post on Facebook or Instagram, or if you're on GroupMe with a group of people in your dorm or any place like that. But you can set up a Google form to get data. You can set up a SurveyMonkey. You can get them to rate things on a Likert scale. Get them to check yes and no. You can get them to provide qualitative responses to answer open-ended questions, however you want to do it. But ask some questions that can provide you with answers about your research question, kind of support your research question. So this is that data gathering phase. So I want you to get about 20 responses. If you're at 15, that's okay too, especially if they're all qualitative responses. But then I want you to report to me what that data looks like. So have some kind of a data summary table. If you do it in like a Google form or SurveyMonkey, then you'll have an output automatically. But otherwise, if you're like asking questions or something, then just jot down the answers that people respond. So you can scan in a piece of notebook paper. That would be fine, or you can just add in that document. So I do want to see the actual data sheet of the questions and the responses from each person. You can just do a first name, or you can do a number for the person for his or her response. And then I want you to summarize it. So, draw some conclusions. What's the overall theme or idea that people responded with, or give me a percentage that 27% felt this and 30% felt this and whatever felt this. And so just to kind of summarize it in 50 to 75 words, what's the overall conclusion from that research question, or the questions that you asked to your friends or family. So it's, a pretty simple rubric here. Just, let me know the questions that you asked. Put your research question if you would. The questions you asked, you can give detail about 15 people, 17 people responded to these questions that you posted on Facebook or Twitter or whatever you use. And then you provide a detailed description of the data with a summary and some kind of a conclusion to draw. And then you also need to be sure to include your table. So those are the two things that you'll submit this week. If you want it all in one document, that's also fine. Whatever works for you. And then I'll provide you feedback on that, and you'll take my feedback, make any changes, and then that'll be added into your research report rough draft that we're working on next week. So be sure to read chapter 10, and then also kind of work on this component of your project. So if you have questions, please post on the class discussion board. Thanks.